Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tigers Den right here on the Four Star Sports Media Network. Appreciate everybody watching and listening over on the social media pages. It's time for a loaded show of the Tigers Den. We've got numerous topics to discuss. Welcome to the show. We appreciate all of you watching and listening. If you do enjoy the show, feel free to like, subscribe, share, follow, hit that notification button, all of the above. That way we know and you know when we're going to be live. So it's the Tigers Den. And let me just go ahead and play this real quick. The Tiger is growling tonight, and it's time for our opening segment, which is always going to be a little Tigers trivia. Yes, sir. That's it. Little Tigers trivia tonight. All right. So the question is really simple, folks. What Memphis wide receiver holds the record for most consecutive games with a reception? And secondly, how many games is that? How many games did the Tiger receiver make a reception in consecutive games? We will answer this question at the end of the show. But I'll let you listen to the jingle for a little bit longer and let you ponder on that question, as it's Tigers trivia right here on the Tigers Den, right here on 4 Star Sports Media. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with some men's hoops news, as we would find out the Maui Invitational bracket would come out yesterday. Came out the day before, I guess, technically. But we would get a little bit of news with the Memphis Tigers, as they will be competing in the Maui Invitational, and they have drawn the defending national champion UConn Huskies as the bracket for the 2024 Maui Invitational has been set. Memphis will play in the opening round on November 25th, tipping off at 1:30 p.m. Central Time. That's 9:30 a.m. Hawaiian time. They're on ESPN2. The contest will be the first glimpse of the preeminent college basketball tournament as it returns to the historic Lahaina Civic Center and Lahaina, Hawaii. Big time. So Memphis is this will be the sixth time in the Maui Invitational, first time since 2011. It's the second most of the 8 teams, while North Carolina currently leads with 9. The Tigers have won at least 2 games in the previous 3 visits. Although Memphis has never won the tournament, the Tigers have finished third place twice, including 1992, when a young Penny Hardaway was named tournament co-MVP alongside Duke's Bobby Hurley. Hardaway it will be just the second Maui Invitational MVP to later return as the head coach in the tournament, with Kentucky's Travis Ford being the only other one, as he did it in 2016 with Oklahoma State. It's the first time Memphis and UConn will meet on the hardwood since 2020, February 16th, 2020, as American Athletic Conference foes. The all-time series is currently tied 8-8, dating back to 2007. And when you look at the Tigers versus the field from a historical standpoint, the Tigers, we just went over UConn, Michigan State. Memphis leads 2-1. Last contest was March 23rd of 2013. Memphis, Colorado have never met in basketball. Memphis, Auburn. Auburn currently leads 2-1, with the most recent meeting being a couple years ago on December 10th, 2022. Iowa State currently leads the all-time record with Memphis 1-0. Last game being November 26th, 2021. North Carolina and Memphis have never met. Very, very interesting. They have never met. And then Dayton currently leads the series 12-8, with the winner last game being in 2021. When you look at the tournament on Monday, Memphis will place UConn. Colorado will take on Michigan State. Auburn will take on Iowa State in the nightcap beginning at 8:30 or beginning at 8 o'clock. And then Dayton plays North Carolina at 10:30 p.m. So the winner of the Memphis game and the winner of the Colorado Michigan State game will face each other on Tuesday at 5 p.m. The two losers of those two games will play at 2:30. Meanwhile, loser of Auburn, Iowa State, and loser of Dayton, North Carolina will play at 7:30, and the winner of those two games will play at 10 p.m. Obviously, Wednesday will be the championship game at 4 p.m. When you look at this Memphis basketball roster, it's compiled of a lot of different players, and there's the talent is there. The question is, are they going to be able to play as a cohesive unit this year? And I mean, I said it earlier, I'll say it again. It's time for this team to hit the tournament and make a run. Um, Penny's now entering his fifth year at the helm. So, Memphis has got to make a statement right here. They've got to make a statement right here, and really let it be known. Hey, we're coming in here to play ball, and we're going to start at Maui, and we're going to start with the defending national champions and the coach that was a very hot commodity recently in coaching. So up next, let's talk a little Memphis softball. We talked with Coach Trina Prater last week. We've got that interview in article form up on 4star.live. And while you're there, check out all of our content, podcast, articles, and more. We've got numerous things on Memphis, Arkansas Hockey Club, Northwest Arkansas Naturals, St. Louis Blues, and more. But when you look at the Memphis Tigers, Prater has signed some new Tigers, as we would see 5 new Tigers announced yesterday. Of these 5, all but one are pitchers. So very, very interesting. Actually, there's a few that play double positions, but very, very interesting that it's all pitching. That's what Memphis needs. When you look at this softball program in years past, pitching has lacked. Pitching has not been good. And that's why when you look at the last, 2 seasons, this team has won a total of 12 games. It's got to get better on the mound, and I think it starts right now with Coach Prater. Jericho Tate would come over from Lake Ridge, Virginia. She's a freshman pitcher. Lyrical Bennett would come over from Irmo, South Carolina. She's a pitcher and third baseman. Josie Gex would come over from Germantown, Tennessee. Junior out of Bryant University, a pitcher and a utility player. Kayla Clement will come out of Covington, Tennessee. Junior out of Chattanooga State Community College. She's a pitcher as well. And then you got Shelby Durbin from Savannah, Tennessee, a junior coming out of Dyersburg State Community College, who's a catcher and an outfielder. There will be much more on this Memphis softball program as their season gets closer. We're going to get back with Coach Prater in the next couple of days too, and reach back out to her and get a little more information on all that. So we talked last week about Memphis soccer. You can head over to the website now. We saw Memphis get a huge win last week to start the season over Alabama A&M 5-1. Excuse me. With that win, it would put Coach Brooks Monaghan at now 300. So Mr. 300. He's in his 25th coaching year. As we talked about last week, he joins a list of 45 Division I soccer coaches to win 300 games. The Tigers would come back and go on the road, take on the Missouri Tigers, the Tigers of Columbia, as I call them. Number 10 Memphis Tigers women's soccer team would go up there and get a big, big, big win, as we would see Ali Kitagawa get her first career goal in the 53rd minute of the game. The assist, a reverse pass to break the Missouri defense from Momo Nakawa, was the second of the early season. It's both of them would score. And then two, like I said, 2-0 right then, and then they would hold on with that incredible defense. We look at this Memphis women's soccer team. I mean, yes, they can score. We've talked about how they score fast, how when they score first, they're really, really, really good. I think they've now won 89 games, if I'm keeping up with my math correctly. That's now 89 games where Memphis has scored first and they've won. So definitely, the aggressiveness is there for this team. Coach Monaghan would say after the game, winning is not easy. It was not always pretty, but there were some great individual moments. He would also go on to say, quote, to be able to go into a tough environment and fight your way out to a win always feels good. With the win, Memphis improves their record over SEC competition to 10-5-1 since 2018, including 3 of their last 4 dating back to last season. Memphis did enjoy the possession early in the game, which that's what really opened it up to get that big chance to get the first goal by Ari. So congratulations to Ari, her first career goal for Memphis. And for the Tigers, you saw Ashley Henderson get a honorable mention this week for her play. And then the Tigers stay on the road as they head to Oxford, Mississippi, take on the Ole Miss Rebels coming up this Sunday, August 25th, for 7 p.m. as well. And then we would see Memphis make a post on social media that would talk about a big announcement. What would that big announcement be? Well, we would find out what that big announcement was. This University Women's Soccer Program is proud to announce the Lisa Weatherford Fletcher Stadium campaign. It's a transformative initiative to build a state-of-the-art facility for the women's and men's soccer team and the track and field programs. This development is supported by the Lisa's Light University of Memphis Soccer and Track Stadium Fund. Associate Athletic Director Christina Waiter would say, as we embark on this journey to build the Lisa Weatherford Fletcher Stadium, we are proud to create a state-of-the-art facility for our athletes, honoring the enduring legacy of a woman who touched so many lives in our community. Lisa's presence for soccer and her committed to Memphis will forever inspire us. This stadium will stand as a testament for her spirit. So these are drawings, renderings from Memphis. These are all via Memphis. But I want to go over some of these. I want to show you all some of these pictures. Because when you look at it, it's absolutely beautiful. So we'll start with this one. I mean, look at that. That is nice right there, folks. And then that's the floor plan. So, I mean, you look at that floor plan, that is top-notch facility right there for the University of Memphis women's soccer team. The initial phase of the project aims to raise $7 million to provide top-notch amenities for student athletes. Enhancements will include a grandstand for the soccer and track stadium, press box, women's soccer team area, and a framework for the men's side. Subsequent phases will complete the team area for men's soccer and track and field, and it will be able to ensure that over more than 100 athletes have access to premier facilities while empowering excellence on and off the field. What a huge investment and opportunity and new beginning for the University of Memphis. And it what I enjoy out of it is it's gonna reciprocate across campus. It's not just women's soccer. It's men's soccer, women's track and field, men's track and field. So that's 4 different universities or 4 different programs on the campus that it's helping, that it's benefiting. So gotta love that. Very, very, very good stuff there. Very good stuff there. All right, up next, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk all things Memphis soccer, men's soccer, as they kick off their season coming up Thursday night against Lipscomb. We'll be right back, but we're going to talk all that and more. And then after that, we'll get into some Memphis Tiger football talk as the Tigers in North Alabama are getting ready to kick it off here shortly. We'll be right back, right here on the 4-Star Sports Media Network. Welcome back, folks. Welcome back. 4-Star Sports Media. You are sitting down at the Tiges Den right now, and we got a jam-packed show for you. Let's talk a little men's soccer as the Tigers will kick off their 2024 season this upcoming Thursday night, tomorrow night, as they host Lipscomb, and then they'll also host Evansville as they start the season as they had 3 exhibition matches last year. The 11th year coach Richard Mulrooney will start the season, and this team is going to be really good again. Thursday officially starts the season as they will take on Lipscomb at 7 p.m., followed by a battle with Evansville on senior night on Sunday at 6 p.m. as well. Both matches will take place at the Park Avenue campus Billy J. Murphy Track and Soccer Complex, and they will both be streamed on ESPN+. The Tigers were tabbed to finish third in the American Athletic Conference media poll preseason, coming off one of the most successful seasons in program history, where they would finish 11-6-2 on the year and earn a second consecutive at-large bid to the NCAA tournament. They would knock off number 24 Southern Illinois 2-1 in the first round to claim the program's first ever NCAA tournament victory, while earning the most wins at 11 in a season since 2011. They did lose a handful of key members from last season, but they do return some very familiar faces. Senior defender Jackson Kim, who earned All ACC first team and All East Region second team honors a season ago, is back to anchor another Memphis defense that has pitched 2 shutouts and held 11 other opponents to just a single goal in 2024. This team's going to be really good. Mulrooney and staff went to work this offseason as they brought in 19 new Tigers to the program, including 13 transfers and 6 freshmen. Like I said, they opened the season up against the Bison from Lipscomb. They've met in each of the past 3 seasons, resulting in a pair of 1-1 draws in 2022 and 2023. The Tigers do lead the overall series 8-3-2, which dates back to the year 2000. The Tigers are 5-1-1 at home after drawing number 12 Lipscomb in the last showdown on October 18th of 2022. As you may know, Lipscomb is the reigning 3-time defending champion of the Atlantic Sun and was once again lauded as the preseason favorite last week, earning 7 of the league's 8 first-place votes. Charles Morrow, longtime head coach of the Bison, enters his 20th season at the helm. Joining his staff is fellow Tiger midfielder Shane Keeley, who is in his first year assistant coach as a Bison. Keeley played junior and senior seasons in Memphis in 2012 and 2013, where he drew 19 starts and had 30 career matches while totaling 4 goals, 5 assists, and 13 total points. Like I said, despite losing a lot of talent, both teams lost a lot of talent. The Bison went 10-4-4 last year, and you lose the number 1 overall pick in Tyrese Spicer and the number 8 overall pick in Malachi Jones to the 2024 MLS Super Draft. They're loaded once again, as they've got four All Atlantic Sun selections, and they're led by a Sun preseason Player of the Year, Javon Smith, who registered 9 goals and 2 assists last season. So, very, very exciting stuff. And then senior night is Sunday, 6 p.m., as they will take on Evansville. They have met 9 times in a series that dates back to 1989. The two have not faced off since 2011. The Tigers trail the all-time series 3-5-1, but are 2-2 at home. And the last victory came at home in 2007. The Purple Aces struggled in 2023. They finished 4-8-4, picking up just 1 win away from home in 8 tries. They were picked to finish 7th in the Missouri Valley Conference preseason poll, which came out on Monday. Very interesting stuff. That's another talented team. As we give you campus coverage, not just we don't just talk football, baseball, basketball. It's full campus coverage. So when you look at it, this is another program on campus that is really, really, really playing well, and it's going to be. They played well last year. It's going to continue into this year. They start off with Lipscomb, and then they go over and take on Evansville on senior night. All right. Football season is 1 week away, right? So with that, we're going to start taking a little bit more of an in-depth look at the opponents on the schedule. Obviously, we'll start with North Alabama tonight. But let's start with, we've been talking about it. It's a recurring theme. It's something that we've been talking about a lot. Appreciate everybody watching and listening over at the live feed right now as well. Over at 4-Star Sports Media, social medias. If you like what you see, if you like what you hear, if you like what you're watching, feel free to like, subscribe, follow, share, quote, retweet, whatever. It's good stuff right here on 4-Star Sports Media. Tigers Den, talking Memphis football. And we would see Seth Hennigan named to more watch lists today, as the quarterback would be named to the Earl Campbell Tyler Rose Award watch list, as the organization would announce today. This marks the 6th watch list for Hennigan, named this preseason. He was named to the Maxwell Award, the Walter Camp Award, the Davey O'Brien Award, the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award, the Manning Award, now the Earl Campbell Tyler Rose Award. Oh, and he was also named to the Reese's Senior Bowl watch list earlier today. We will be in Mobile. I'll tell you that right now. Also, speaking of Memphis football, we will be back on the sideline and in the press box for the Tigers this upcoming season, as we had all of our credential requests approved. So look out for more. We got me, you got Madison Pinky, you got Kayla Hull, you got John Sturdivant, you got Will Bass, and others that are going to be doing multiple angles of Tiger football starting this, or continuing this season, I should say. But like I said, Hennigan right now is Memphis' career all-time leader in completions with 839, passing yards with 10,776, and touchdowns are just a dozen shy of Brady White's career record. He's logged 18 300-yard passing games and 5 400-yard efforts, both of which are program records. So like I said, football is just a week away. Let's go take a look at Memphis versus North Alabama. So, if you look at it on a historical standpoint, we're going to look at this from a few perspectives. So first off, we'll start with Memphis and University of North Alabama. They've only met one time. They met in 2022. That was the day that Danton Bartow's jersey was retired, and the Tigers would end up winning that game 59-0. Anyone that knows anything about Danton Bartow, about Memphis football, you also know that Danton Bartow wore the number 59. So, was that done on purpose? I honestly don't believe so. But it's crazy, and I had tears coming down my face at the end of that game. So when you look at North Alabama, obviously Memphis would win the game 59-0. You look at that game, the historical standpoint of Danton Bartow gets his jersey retired. There's only one 59, and that's Danton Bartow. That's ever going to play Memphis football. Um, but when you look at North Alabama, you look at the Memphis team. I mean, obviously Memphis should. They're going to get the win. I mean, barring anything catastrophic, Memphis wins the game. But when you look at Memphis versus a non-FBS school, um, since 1980, the Tigers are 21-1 against non-FBS programs. They tied Missouri State in 1985, and then they lost to UT Martin in 2012. That was Justin Fuente's first ever game as head coach. That was the game that had the 2.5 hour rain delay. In these games since 1980, the Tigers have won by an average of 46-12. That's crazy. Since 1980, the Tigers are also 22-21-2 in their first home game. In the 80s, the Tigers were 4-5-1. The 90s, they were 2-8-1. In the 2000s, they went 5-5. 2010s, they went 7-3. And so far in the 2020s, the Tigers are 4-0 in their first home game. The last time the Tigers would drop a home opener was to Duke in 2013. When you look at Memphis football in the month of August, they're 6-3. And you look at Memphis football on the 31st, which is the day they take on North Alabama, they are 4-1 all time on that date, with the only loss coming to the University of Miami back in 1996. Tigers' last game in August was in 2019. That was a 15-10 win over Ole Miss. When you look at home openers for the Memphis Tigers, they've only had one kickoff return and one punt return. Tony Pollard would go 99 yards versus Louisiana Monroe in 2017. And then Roderick Proctor would go 63 yards versus Missouri State in 2015. The longest offensive touchdown in an opener was an 83-yard rush by Calvin Austin versus Mercer in 2018. The longest passing touchdown was Danny Wimprine to D'Angelo Williams for 80 yards in 2003 versus Tennessee Tech. Memphis has also had one pick six, which was Bobby McCain. He's also the all-time leader in defensive touchdowns with 5. He returned a pick 73 yards in that game in 2013 when the Tigers would lose to Duke. Memphis football has only had 4 seasons where they led the game at the end of the first quarter 9 times. That was 2004, 2014, 2019, and 2023. When you looked at those 4 teams, there's only one team that would win all 9 of those games, and that was the 2023 Memphis Tigers. So when you look at this Memphis football program, and I'll go back through all these numbers again for you gladly. So let's just run back through it again real quick. For those of you watching and listening, we appreciate you watching and listening. You're sitting down at the Tigers Den right now, Wednesday night, 4-Star Sports Media, talking Memphis football. We're talking Tigers in home openers. Also, shout out John Stacy. This guy is a Memphis football statistician, historian. You need anything when it comes to Memphis, this guy can get you taken care of. I appreciate all of his help. But since 1980, the Tigers have played 22 games versus non-FBS opponents. They are 21-1 in those games, as they tied Murray State in 1985 and they lost to UT Martin in 2012. As I said a minute ago, average of 46-12 with wins there. So when you look at the Memphis football program and you look at over-under, that's the show coming up Sunday, but when you look at the numbers, you look at home openers, everything checks. There's boxes being checked. 21-1 since 1980. Since 1980, they're 22-21-2 in their first home game. In the 2020s, they're 4-0 in their first home game. They haven't lost a home opener since 2013. 6-3 in the month of August. 4-1 on 8/31, which is the day they play North Alabama. Last loss, the only loss, came in 1996 to Miami. Last game in August was 2019. Obviously, they beat Ole Miss 15-10. Memphis football is a week away, folks. Football is this weekend in some campuses, but Tiger football is a week away. You look at this football program. I just talked about it. There's only been 4 seasons where Memphis has led at the end of the first quarter 9 times. Out of those 4, only one program, 1 year, won all of those. That was last year in 2023. You look at this Memphis football program, but more than that, you look at the campus, and we talked about this the last show. There's reason for support. We call this coverage for Memphis campus coverage for a reason. Because we are covering the campus athletically. Is football season huge? Yes. Is basketball season huge? Yes. Is baseball season huge? Yes. Is women's softball season huge? Yes. Each sport has its own excitement. Each sport has its own reason for coverage. And each sport deserves to have coverage. Look at the Memphis women's softball program. We've talked about it before. This program's been through hell. These players have been put through hell playing softball. Hopefully they've got a coach in there now that cares. Based on the conversation I had with Trina Prater, it feels like she cares. Based on conversations I've had with other people that are connected to the program, current players on the roster feel as if she cares and feel as if there's a change in direction with this softball program. It deserves that. I said it last week. I'll say it again. The softball program deserves to get this right. They deserve to have someone in there that loves on the players, that genuinely cares. Like I just said, those girls on that softball team went through pure hell. Prater is doing a really good job, and her staff is doing a really good job of bringing players in here that want to play ball for the Tigers. There's reason for support. You look at Ed Scott, brand new athletic director, doing incredible things. There's going to be more hirings coming up very soon. You saw numerous people, Scott Burns and others, leave. It happens, folks. It's college athletics. It happens. But when you look at this Memphis campus, it's on the trend. It's trending up. It's trending the right way. The football program, like I just said, folks, since 1980, they've played 22 games versus non-FBS opponents. They're 21-1. They're 4-1 on 831. Only loss came back in 96. That's reason for support for the football team. They were 10-3 last year. There's reason for support for the basketball program. We talked about them earlier in the show. They draw, great draw, but they draw UConn to start the season in Maui. That's tough. But that's why Penny's the coach. You want those matchups. And Memphis fans could be very, very pissed off. Because if scheduling becomes what I believe scheduling is going to become in the SEC, Memphis probably won't be playing Arkansas. Arkansas already owes Memphis a game from the 90s when they backed out. It's coming. It's going to happen. Change is happening. We see change with the Memphis football program. You see new guys come in. You see guys leave. One constant has been Seth Hennigan. He's the only quarterback in the nation that spent 4 years at the same school. I'll say that again. He's the only 4-year starter in the nation that spent every season of college with the same institution. Think about that. I mean, that stat is massive when you really get down to it. And this is all stat driven, folks. As it says in the intro of this show, this is a stat driven show. It's not really a lot of hot takes. Other folks like to do hot takes. I'm not one of those people. I'll give you stats. They're I can give you stats on Memphis. You don't want hot takes. You want facts. That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for here at 4-Star Sports Media. Folks, let's go ahead and hit this trivia music real quick because I think it's time just to answer this trivia question. What about you? All right, so you can see it right there on the screen. The question is, what Memphis wide receiver holds the record for most consecutive games with a reception? And double question, how many games? If you know, throw it in the comment section real quick, but we're about to give the answer. I'll let you listen to this jingle for one more second while you ponder, though. All right, so let's go ahead and get this answer up here for you. The answer to that trivia question is Duke Calhoun, who had a consecutive reception in 49 games for the Tigers, and that is he holds the record for most consecutive games with a reception with 49 consecutive. Duke Calhoun was a valuable part of the Justin Fuente era. When you look at what Duke did, I mean, it was in the very tail end of the Fuente era, of the Larry Porter era, and then he came into the Justin Fuente era. But man, you look at this Memphis team; they're loaded for sure. Again, you saw Seth Hennigan named to the watch list for the Senior Bowl today. You saw Rock Taylor, wide receiver, also named. Like I said earlier, we will be back down in Mobile this year to watch both of those guys continue their football journey. I mean, as we've covered them here for for Seth Hennigan anyway, for his entire career at Memphis. But it's been a good show. We appreciate everybody watching and listening. We'll be right back on air Friday as we get into the sports buffet. Also, we'll be back on air tomorrow night as the guys with the Hogs Happy Hour talk Arkansas, everything Arkansas Razorbacks on Thursday nights, as we always do it here on 4-Star Sports Media. It's Wednesday night, and you definitely know what that means. It's time for Memphis Tigers because that's what we do right here on Wednesday nights at 4-Star Sports Media. Like I said earlier, appreciate everybody watching and listening. Appreciate everybody tuning in. If you enjoy what you watched and listened to today, once again, feel free to like, follow, subscribe, and share. And let's go ahead and just end with some good old blues music as we close the show. As always, folks, go Tigers.